Welcome to the Daily Plunge. We're looking at the book of Proverbs, chapter 6, the whole chapter, verses 1 through 19, not the whole chapter. Anyway, the advice of the father, the spiritual father, to his son or to his disciple is, if you put up a promise for your neighbor, if you've made a pledge for a stranger, you may have just pulled yourself down into a pit and snared yourself by your own mouth, as it says. And part of this is that you can't be responsible for someone else's their struggles. We can help people, but we have to be careful not to take responsibility for someone else's problem. Again, there's a difference between helping someone, giving them some aid, and then or the difference of taking responsibility for it. So it goes on in verse 3. Free yourself, since you've fallen into your neighbor's hand, to the point of exhaustion. And in other words, you need to put this back on your neighbor and let him carry his own burden. Again, we are supposed to encourage one another, share what we have with people, but they still have to take responsibility for themselves. And one of the ways of this is in our faith. Your faith cannot save someone else. They have to take responsibility for their own faith. They have to seek God's wisdom themselves. So free yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter. And then he says, look at the ant. The ant doesn't sit around like a lazy sluggard. The ants are always working. And, each of us were created to be productive. You were created by God to produce fruit. You were created to God to be fruitful and multiply. You were created by God to be a blessing to others. And if you're just hanging out on the couch, eating bonbons or potato chips, and just only indulging yourself, you're not living out your created purpose. You're not living out the wisdom of God in your life. And so it goes on and saying in verse 12, that poverty will come on you like a thief. If you wonder why you're poor if you put no effort into taking care of yourself. A troublemaker and a villain who goes about with a corrupt mouth, winks maliciously, somebody who's furtively signaling their corruption. They're always stirring up conflict. And again, this is a warning about people who are not living according to God's wisdom, but instead are they're troublemakers with deceit in their heart. So then we get down to verse 16. There are 6 things the Lord hates: haughty eyes, lying tongues, hands that shed blood, innocent blood, wicked scheming hearts, evil rushing feet, false witness, and a person who stirs up conflict. And, one of the things, again, is all of this is done out of their body is turned into a platform for sin. And that's not what God wants. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.